Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the SH Figuarts Ultimate Muscle, or KINNIKUMAN. I don't know if this one's technically Ultimate Muscle, it might be a separate thing, I'm not sure. It's the same character though. This is the perfect Origin Arc version. This is a new release, and they haven't had any of these guys release in a long time, and when they first came out, they had all this kind of crazy articulation, all this new stuff. Some of it was actually used on the Street Fighter figures and a few other lines, but it was new articulation to get, is like the, what would they call it, the fighting body or something like that. And so anyway, that line kind of died off. It wasn't really the best articulation in a lot of cases. This guy has some new stuff, some new engineering, and the question really is, did Bandai do their over-engineering thing, or does this guy have really good articulation? So we're going to find out. So let's go ahead and get him off the stand and take a closer look. Alright, before we look at the figure, I do want to show you my package. I think it's a pretty good package, though they keep cutting off most of the figure for the photo, which I find very bothersome. I'm curious how you guys feel about that. It also has a very retro feel to it. I don't know why. Maybe it's the white and red look, but maybe that's their intention. I don't know, but that's how I feel about it. It reminds me of Atari games for some reason. I don't know, but there's the back. Not bad. Okay, so it looks like, it might be a pretty good poser, but actually if you look at these poses, he's not actually doing a whole lot in any of them. It's deceptive, so we're gonna find out, but there it is, there's the packaging. Alright, I will say this is a review sample from Big Bad Toy Store. I was not gonna buy this. They asked if I wanted to review it, and I said, sure, you know what, it might have some new articulation, so let's take a look. So we're gonna find out. I'll put a link in the description below, by the way, if you guys want to get one. I doubt you will by the end of this video, but if you do, that's a good way to do it. Alright, so he's about 16 centimeters to the top of his head. That's going to make him just about 6 3/8 inches. And I have to do a question of the day. Are you guys into this? How popular is this franchise? Is it still popular? Was it really popular at one point? Let me know. It's not something I was ever very familiar with, so you guys can let me know about that. But okay, let's talk about the aesthetic on this guy. I have to say the skin tone, the plastic looks really nice. It's a nice matte finish, very, very well done. The shading, too sparse. In some places it's a little bit more full. You can see on his legs, it hits most of the recesses, but on his torso, they just ran it down the middle. So that looks weird, especially on the abdomen, where it's got all those different recesses. They only ran it down the middle. That's kind of strange. On the arms, they hit most of them. Well, they hit some of them, and then they didn't hit others at all. And on the back, they did a little bit better, I guess, than on the front. There's some up here, but still, it's too sparse, so it doesn't look great. And also, it's a little bit too yellow. It's not quite the right color for this skin tone, but it's not terrible looking. It's definitely okay. His trunks have a sort of shiny finish, except it's way shinier on this piece than on this piece. I don't know if that's going to show up on camera, but yeah, these pieces are just... they're kind of slightly more lustrous. There's a little bit of a satin finish to the whites, except for these, which are like way shinier, so that's weird. Alright, and then we have the heads, which have a little bit of paint on them. That little logo right there. And the red. And that's it. The eyes and mouth pieces are separate pieces, which we're going to talk about in the accessory section. It's not a good thing. I'll say that right now. So, as far as the sculpt goes, it's good if you like the really hunky, bulky, weird shapes of the muscles. Like his pecs are really, really round, so that's kind of weird. The abs are nice, the legs are nice, the arms are alright. Yeah, I think it's really just the chest is super weird. Maybe that's the way it's drawn, I don't know. But it brings it to a kind of a very, a very strange shape, so... I don't know. I think it looks good enough. If it's super accurate, like with the weird shading and stuff, then you can just tell me, but I'm going to assume it's not because it doesn't make sense. I'm going to say it only gets a 6 out of 10. I love the aesthetic for the matte finish. Looks great and the skin tone's wonderful. But that shading really throws it off. Really throws it off. I mean, for me, maybe you guys don't care. Like, hey, you know what? My reviews give you the information. You can decide how you feel about it. My ratings are for how I feel about it. I don't like it. So there's that. Okay, let's talk about the accessories. For hands, we get a decent spread of hands, nothing crazy. And then for interchangeable heads, we have a different faceplate. So we have two faces, like one with the round mouth, one with the oval mouth, and then you get all these different eyes and mouth pieces to use. And I guess that's okay. That seems to me to just be saving them money and making your life a pain in the ass, because one, you have to clip these off the sprues, which is not something most people have tools to do with. against. I don't know. Words are hard sometimes. But also, they fall off way too easily. When I was taking this guy out of the package, this mouthpiece, which doesn't even fit properly on him, it just fell right out, and I thought, oh well, that's gone forever, because it fell off as I was popping a part off, so I thought it went flying. I found it. But it's just not, it's not a great setup. I don't like it. It seems to me to only save them money and not help the customer at all, so I don't care for that. So accessory-wise, 5 out of 10 at best. There's not a whole lot going on there that I can be happy about. Okay, so now let's see about the articulation. Did they do a good job with the articulation? Well, first, we have this big cutout in the neck, which I can only assume is for this piece, but it doesn't actually use it. Like, it uses parts of it, but there's more cutout than necessary. And you can lean his head all the way up, so that's good, but then you have this big cutout here, which looks like crap. So that to me feels like it was undercooked in the design stage. And here's the other thing that bothers me. Let's see if I don't lose any pieces as I'm taking his faceplate off. We have a ball hinge with a ball peg that's in the back of the head, which makes it a pain in the butt. It's not the worst thing in the world, but a straight up double ball peg is always better, and this makes it annoying and challenging to get the head where you want it to go sometimes without doing that ball hinge shimmy, so that's annoying. For the shoulders, we have that same set. Oh man, they pop off too easily. We have that same setup that they've been doing lately with like the triple ball peg with cups in between and a ball hinge at the end and a hinge on the inside, and oh gosh, it's such a pain in the ass. And if you accidentally pop it off, it's like, what are you supposed to do? Can I take it apart and fix it? Maybe. So these cups down here have a hinge. That's what the butterfly is connected to. I'm not going to be able to fix this. What am I supposed to do? The arm popped off. These over-complex shoulders are really starting to get to me. It makes no sense. There's no way for me to get to that. Can I pull on this maybe? There we go. Ha ha ha. I used to be a customizer. I still am. I just don't do it anymore. So we have this, which is, it's just so overly complex for no reason at all. This cup right here, this socket, has a hinge that lets it swing up and down, which lets this part move up and down. This part is fixed on these pegs, which is annoying. It shouldn't be. And then you have this socket, which you already saw me rip apart on accident. So you have extra sockets and things, and it achieves almost nothing. And as you saw, it's a real pain in the ass if it ends up falling apart. So like, can I raise his arm up? Yes, I could do that with so many different figures that don't have 15 different joints in them. Does it look okay? Yeah, on this one. Some of the other ones don't look as good. We just looked at a Goku that didn't have such a good situation. It's functional enough, but it doesn't need half of what it has in there to be functional. So that's kind of annoying, but it does work. So as long as you don't accidentally pull it apart, you probably will be okay, but I wasn't really trying to pop that off. So there is some benefit, no doubt, but it seems to me to be far too complex for what it does, and I don't care for that. But yeah, the arms do move. Bicep swivel is fine, if not a little bit loose. Double jointed elbow is pretty limited. I don't like that they cut the sculpt up here so that it looks great. Like it looks like a smooth sculpt almost when the arm's straight, but then when you bend it, it's got these sharp lines. Not a huge deal, of course, but could look better. But yeah, pretty limited elbows. And then the wrists, these are soft pieces, I like that, but the wrists are on just ball hinges. And for the torso, I'll show you again, we have a hinge at the bottom and then a socket, and then that's it. It's a fixed peg, so that's all the range. Now the problem is, you don't actually get to use any of that. When you lean him back, that's as far back as he can lean. Let's not move the torso, lower torso. That's as far back as he can lean. And then leaning him forward, that's as far forward as he can lean. So his torso is super limited front to back. Side to side, also really limited. And then the rotation is also really limited, so that's pretty bad. Now down here, you have a little bit more range. It's still just a single peg. And his trunks are soft, so you get a little bit more range. He can go forward there. He still can't go back very far. It's not bad, but it is gappy. And then side to side is better, and rotation is better. So there's something there, but not much. Now get this, they decided they had to do new hips, even though they're basically the same hips that we see on Kamen Rider and Dragon Ball and like everything else now. They made it more complex than it needed to be, because as it is, you can't spread his legs farther than this. Okay? That's like incredibly limited range, and the thigh gap is just absurd. It's weird because his legs should be all the way connected to here and they're not. So that's super strange. You can bring them forward. They look a little bit weird, for sure, but you do get to go forward, going back. It's a flexible piece, so you can flex it, but it does look really weird. Like, his diaper area is humongous, especially once it starts to stretch like that. So, don't love that. If you, you do get a thigh swivel, I'll just mention that now. If you want to move his legs out, you have to pop them off. Okay, and then you can take off this piece, which is the one that's necessary, the extra part of his trunks. You can leave this piece on, I'm pretty sure. We're going to find out. I don't know if you would want to, because, like, I don't get what they're doing. Bandai, what are you doing? So yeah, you can raise his leg up if you remove the trunks. Why didn't they account for something, like, in the design phase, rather than having you have to disassemble this overly complex bunch of junk? I don't get it. They have so many figures that can do the splits without taking their figure apart. It makes no sense. It just makes zero sense at all. And the extra trunk pieces here add almost nothing. It's like they really were trying to get as many pieces and points of articulation into this figure without considering if it even adds anything. It's very frustrating. Double jointed knee. Minimal range. Like, I mean, it's better than 90, but this is not... Why does this guy have the least amount of range? That's so weird. And then for the ankles, it's like the Daima Goku. And Vegeta, I think. Ball peg with the ball hinge. His ankles work pretty good. They go pretty far forward, pretty far back. Ankle rocker is okay. Toe hinge is still a crappy toe hinge. I don't know why Bandai struggles so much with toe hinges. That's not how toes really work. I mean, it's functional enough, but you don't need to make it like that. It's way better to make it the right way. So, this guy's articulation is actually not very good. The best thing about it is the shoulders, and they're still overly complex and a pain in the ass. So I'm going to give his articulation rating... Gosh, look how wide his legs are if you don't squash them in, but even then, it's a weird... that has to go the other way. Okay, so we need to put this piece on this side of that, I think. What a pain in the ass this figure is. Holy crap. Is that right now? Yeah, there we go. Alright, so now his legs are closer together. So I'm going to give his articulation a 4 out of 10. Overly complex and incredibly limited. For a character like this, I don't know that there's much to really be happy about, other than, like, the skin tone is nice. It doesn't pose well, it doesn't have good accessories, the faces are a pain in the ass, posing him is a pain in the ass, if he falls apart it's a pain in the ass. Basically everything about this guy is a pain in the ass. So I'm going to give him an overall rating of 4 out of 10. It's not the absolute worst thing we've ever looked at, but it's not a good update to what they did before, and I don't think what they did before was super popular. So I don't know what they're thinking. Bandai, stop overcomplicating your figures. This guy's basically a naked body. Just put some basic joints in him and he'll work. You didn't need to do all that for the shoulders, or the hips, or the torso, or any of it. Just make it simple. Goodness, almost always the case is that simple is better for articulation. But that's not what we have here. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, but that's it from me. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos just about every single day, and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.